Danny watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Dhani and John.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Do I usually say everybody or everyone?
I don't know. I just use the other one, whichever one you don't say.
I'm Danny.
And I'm John.
And this is Watching My Stories. Happy New Year!
On behalf of everybody out there, thank you. Happy New Year to you, too.
It is 2022.
Yes.
So I hope everyone had a lovely holiday. We have enjoyed our 10 days off.
10 days off, yeah.
Today's our last day. Sad. Life goes back to normal tomorrow.
Sad
face.
Yeah.
Sad face emoji. But hope everyone had a great time and looking forward to a whole new year.
Yeah, hope everybody
of the
out there
exact same stuff
is safe and healthy too.
Yes.
That's almost bigger than happiness these days.
We have barricaded ourselves indoors again
for
the last at least month, if not more. I don't even remember the last time we went out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was actually early December, but anyway.
So anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some movies, some TV, and then instead of the Actors Corner, I am going to be reviewing all the movies I watched this in 2021 and putting them into our normal categories of love, like, hate, secretly love, all of that. So that's what we've got going on. And first we're going to start with John's Joke Corner. Waka waka.
Oh, man. I have a feeling that's funnier than anything I have. But oh, boy. Yeah, so I'm trying to be more selective of my jokes these days and be a little less controversial.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I didn't run this past the censors, but there's nothing bad here. It made me laugh out loud. So, you know, this I think falls under the category
That's not a good barometer of anything.
Probably not, but you give me the time, so here we go. Hey, did you... Oh. Okay, that's not even it.
Okay.
Did you see that Julie Andrews released a statement that she wouldn't be endorsing Revlon Supercolor lipstick anymore?
I did not see that.
Yeah. She said it breaks too easy and makes her breath smell bad. And her direct quote was, "The Supercolor fragile lipstick gives her halitosis."
Okay. It wasn't. I can't believe you got that out. Did you rehearse that?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm so impressed.
I've never said that out loud before.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
That's a good one. I saw the joke on TikTok, so I knew it. But I'm very happy with you getting that out. That's a good one.
Boom, one take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And was that the only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, the pressure.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I figured that was plenty.
That was great.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
Whew.
Let him have his moment. All right, then. We're going to jump into movies.
I highly recommend it.
I'm going to preface this with the majority of these movies I've already talked about, but in this vacation, we have sat down and watched some movies together. So we're going to revisit some movies, as well as we have started a new tradition here at home for movie nights. On Fridays, I pick a movie, and Saturdays, John picks the movie. Why are you laughing?
Just the way it worked out this past weekend.
And so in this picking of movies, they're probably going to be older movies. I'm trying to pick out movies that he's mentioned on here that he's never seen.
Yeah.
So it might seem weird that we're talking about 20-year-old movies, but and sometimes it'll be 70-year-old movies. Who knows? So we're going to get into that, and then I'll get into TV, and then, like I said, doing the movies of 2021. So let's start out our first movie, which I just spoke about on our last podcast, and that's Encanto.
Oh, yes.
So it finally came out on Disney Plus, so we were able to watch it. I've watched it a couple more times. So I want to get your take on it, but I will say that what I said on our last podcast, I think now is completely wiped out. I have, in the second viewing and since, there's so much more that I have to talk about on this. So we'll let you do your thing, and then I'll try and talk some more.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, I loved it. I thought it was really good. The first part of it was, so this is just my take on it, and
yes,
this is
it
just
is.
me. Okay.
You're not.
The
speaking
first
for
part
anyone
was
else.
the first part was a little slow and annoying to me.
You're slow and annoying.
Joke corner is over.
Oh, sorry.
Wow, turned into a roast. So yeah, but I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just I guess I built this up in my mind so much prior to seeing it because
was it? So this kind of ties into what I want to get into. So the movie is about intergenerational trauma and the stopping of it. So in the beginning, was it annoying to you because Abuela was such a jerk?
Yeah.
And treating Mirabelle so bad and all of that. So I can see, because you definitely have problems with that when that comes on with anything.
I do.
So I can see where you felt that, and it is very annoying.
Well, and for the first, I don't know, it seemed like the first half of the movie, I'm sure it wasn't, but for like the first section of the movie, it was basically all that, and it wasn't.
Yes.
She didn't get any wins.
Right.
There was just one situation like that after another, after another, after another, and I was like, ugh, I can't wait until, there's some form of retribution or comeback here, because this,
Yeah, so what's lovely about this now is that it's huge on TikTok too, and people are getting it, and people are seeing it for what it is. At least people in our generation or younger. It appears that older generations are not liking the movie or not understanding the movie, which, hello.
Well, a bunch of them probably don't like it because they don't understand it, and the ones that understand it are probably
pissed off about it. Yeah,
quasi offended.
Yeah. So it is about intergenerational trauma. This is a very adult movie that they made colorful, I think, for adults or for kids, but I think only adults are going to get most of this. They use very true therapeutic words like golden child and scapegoat and all these things that are used in trauma healing and family division and all of that. It's a very interesting thing. A lot of people can see their own families in this. There's Louisa who's the strong one, and they just put everything on her and just go, well, she's strong, she can handle it. The gifts are such metaphors. The gifts mean nothing in this. It's really about people's places and families and the roles that are forced upon people, and especially children and families. You're the strong one, you're the perfect one, which is Isabel, and you're gonna have to marry this person, you're gonna do what we're gonna do, and you just have to stay perfect no matter what. When Louisa starts to crack and she's feeling weak and she doesn't know what her value is if she's not able to be the strong one, and Mirabelle and Bruno are the ones who mention issues. They are the what are called pioneers, usually, who step outside of the family and go, I don't think this family is as perfect as it looks. And Bruno was the first one to do so, and he's literally shunned. He's literally the one going, well, you don't know what you're talking about, get out of here. And then everything else is Bruno's fault. Everything else is negative when it comes to Bruno. Everything he ever did was negative, The sister who's in control of the weather is constantly being told not to feel what she's feeling, which is a typical thing. Even when the house starts to crack and things are going on, Abuela is saying to to the town, the magic's strong as ever, and whatever, it's like we have to look perfect for everyone else. Everyone has to think we're perfect. So there's so much, and it is so deep, and it is so wonderful, and that's why I keep watching it, because I keep finding more and more things. And when Mirabel finally is the one to say, to Abuela, you're the problem here, it's not me, you're the one who we're never good enough for, and all this sort of stuff, do things finally start to even get resolved, because again, most people that you would say such a thing to still won't admit it, but Abuela does, and I love that, and that she finally comes around and says you're right. But it's there's a lot, there's so much to unpack, and I think it's also very personal. I think each person is seeing themselves or their family in this, and they're relating to it, which is just lovely and wonderful. And what brilliant storytellers to put such a thing together in such a whimsical way is so wonderful. I just and the music's so great, and I'm so glad that I saw it again with a different perspective. And because the first time I took it on very personally, like just I took it on with me and my autism, and being that one out of the family that was so different, and blah 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 blah. Then the second time you start to look at I was looking at all the family members and all the people, and so it really does change everything. So I'm so glad you liked it. Yeah. Not enough to like make it a favorite where you keep watching it?
Oh, I do want to watch it again.
Okay.
And I can see kind of going down the same road that you have, where you watch it a second time, it's like, okay. And then feel like, when it comes on, just watch it, when it's on.
Right.
I still, Coco is still my favorite.
Yeah.
But this is up there. This was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. It's I've been getting up and dancing the last few times, and really enjoying the music as much as possible too. So good on Disney Plus now. Kids will like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, kids will like it because there's a lot of colors and the music's wonderful, and they won't see the deep underbelly of it all, but they're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
parents are gonna be sobbing.
I haven't. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about at the very least.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. I'm not real big on social media or, stuff like that, but I have to believe that at some point, the song, I don't even know what it's called, but it's the Family Madrigal song. That's an earwig, man. That's going to be like be like Into the Unknown or Let It Go or something like that, because we're both walking around singing.
I know. Yeah. Luisa's song too, hers ends up getting everywhere on TikTok, and then it gets in my head. Chip, 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 never stop. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that one too gets in there. What I also wanted to talk about, and I didn't write it down, is the short that we watched. What is it called? Far from the Tree? With the raccoons.
Oh, yeah.
So if you also have Disney Plus, go and look. I think it's called Far from the Tree or Fall from the Tree, something like that. It's a little 6-minute short that, again, they knocked out of the park, and it is literally about intergenerational violence, anger, and breaking the cycle of that. And I could not believe my eyes that I was watching this little short cartoon, and that's what they were doing. That was the point of it. It was so lovely and wonderful, and I'm
going to go so far as to say it was a Disney spin on stopping the cycle of abuse.
Right. It was. Yeah.
It was.
That's exactly
the first minute into it. I was cringing, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Right.
And as it kind of went on, I was like, okay, you'll give it a chance. And then obviously the second half, it's like, okay.
Right.
Man, what a tough subject to tackle in a 6-minute short.
Right. I couldn't believe my eyes, but it's done so well. It was lovely and so worth watching. And again, watching with your children so that, they see patterns or whatever, and just so lovely. And they're shorts. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. So anyway, so Encanto and Far from the Tree, I think, is the short, all on Disney Plus. Check it out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next movie I'm going to talk about, I also spoke about, I think 2 podcasts ago, was a Christmas movie that I wanted you to watch because I loved it so much, and it's called Single All the Way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So this movie is on Netflix. It's Jennifer Coolidge and Kathy Najimy and everyone. Like everyone. Who's anyone? No, I don't know.
Well,
it's a very good cast. You'll know everyone.
Yeah, it's a good cast. You'll recognize a lot of them.
Yeah. So
yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was for the subject matter. It was fairly light.
For the subject matter, it's a rom-com.
Well, yeah, but there's some deep issues there with the mom and.
Did I miss something?
Well, the mom's trying to control him and set him up and tell him how to be and who to see and all that stuff. So
wow, you went deep.
Yeah,
that's a typical rom-com storyline though. So
yeah, but she really drove it home to me, I guess. But in a very fun way. It was right?
Okay. So for anyone who didn't listen to my podcast a couple weeks ago, the premise is that, and I don't remember anyone's names now, but
there's this guy,
the main character. He's going home for Christmas. His family, who's very lovely and joyful and everything, they just want him to find a partner and be happy. And so he talks his best friend into going home and says, "Oh, we'll tell them that we fell in love." Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work, and so the mom does try to set him up with someone in town because she also wants him to move home because they live in LA. And then it's the rest of the family that actually wants the best friend and him to fall in love. And so they kind of try to manipulate situations too to get them to hang out more and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a very rom-com movie.
It is.
But it's at Christmas time. It's not your typical, straight to streaming movie to me. It felt like something that could have been in theaters because the writing was actually smart.
It was very clever and funny.
Yeah, there were a lot of funny lines, a lot of smart writing. Obviously, the cast was really great. And I had a smile on my face both times. And I think I cried more in the second one just out of happy tears or whatever, the second time I watched it. But I needed you to watch it because it was just one of those that I came across this year that made me happy.
It was very sweet.
Very happy, very joyful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No complications. And, it was just, we haven't had rom-coms, good ones in a while. And so, when a good one, a fun one comes around, it's like, oh, I just got to take it all in,
Yeah. And the two guys were very engaging.
Yes.
They're very the lead actor was from Ugly Betty, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and his best friend, I've seen him before, but I couldn't tell you who he is.
I had never seen him before.
But they were
Michael Urie is the lead guy from Ugly Betty. Yeah. He's so good.
But you just, everything he did, at least for me, I was
cheering him on
and fairly fixated. Yeah. His acting style, him being obviously himself, is very interesting and intriguing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just so expressive, and I just loved his delivery.
And I loved that the whole family was actually like that. They were all kind of over the top joyful, but it was like, I love to watch a family like that. You know what I mean? Like where they're all just happy and supportive, and they're just glad to be together. And and again, in a year like this, maybe that's what was needed. I just had a smile on my face. I'm just so happy with this movie. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So
and Jennifer Coolidge being domineering director of the school play. Was pretty entertaining too.
And then she comes out for the Christmas play dressed as Glinda from Wizard of Oz, which is just like, what?
Yeah.
She's funny. Oh, God. So
it was good. I enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad. So that is Single All the Way. That is on Netflix. The next movie I'm going to talk about is on Amazon Prime called Being the Ricardos. This is with Nicole Kidman and miscast person. What's his name? I don't care. Anyway.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, thank you. So he plays Desi Arnaz. Nicole Kidman plays Lucille Ball. So I went into this with the lowest of intentions because I hated the trailer. I hated the casting choices. So I went into this with the lowest of expectations that anyone could possibly have.
Okay.
Like I went into it hate watching it before it even started, right? So there's really kind of nowhere to go but up, and it did go up from there.
Okay.
It was better than I expected,
Well, that's
but
good.
not great.
Wow.
I still don't. He was horrible choice for. He did well. He sounded good, and of course he acted well, Javier Bardem. But he doesn't look like Desi Arnaz, and so it was like, I don't think he's good looking enough to be Desi Arnaz. I've been saying since the casting was first announced, I felt like it should have been Benjamin Bratt. I think he would have been wonderful, and he's as handsome as he was. So, I had major issues with Nicole Kidman. The looks, whatever they did to her face, a lot of the time I felt like I was looking at someone from Whoville. It was not right to me, but she played Lucille Ball well enough.
Better than you expected.
Better than I expected.
Yeah. Okay.
Did she play Lucy well? So most of it is Lucille Ball back, in the back. Behind the scenes, and then every once in a while they would do a scene from the show. So did she play Lucy Ricardo well? No.
Okay.
Those scenes were painful to me, like, because she changed her voice in those scenes and she tried, and it was painful. But when she was Lucille Ball, I could get on board with it and all of that.
Yeah.
So Aaron Sorkin wrote this. I think that's the saving grace of it in some ways. He basically took a bunch of stuff that happened to them in their lives. So one was when she was accused of being a communist by the, McCarthy deal. Also Desi being accused of cheating on her, which of course happened over and over again, and something else that was going on. And so he kind of mushed them all into this 1 week to make it look like they have this just horrible week, We got to see her interactions with Vivian Vance. We got to see J.K. Simmons plays Fred, and I forget his real name. He was really good as Fred.
Who played Vivian Vance?
I don't know her name off the top of my head.
No
She's more of a theater person.
Okay.
At least that's where I've seen her. So, I'd say maybe like a 5 out of 10. Am I ever going to watch it again? No. And I've actually heard that there's a better movie on Amazon Prime called, I think, Being Lucy. And there's this amazing actress who is from Broadway who played Lucy. And that it's a better story and it's a better portrayal and all that. So I'm going to check it out. It's like 20 years old. My thing is, I would have loved an actual biopic of Lucille Ball. Like, I would have loved, this does start a little bit in the beginning of her career and how she was just kind of doing B movies and stuff. But I would have loved all of that and then really get into the nitty gritty of her and Desi, because it was not a pretty relationship. And go through all of that, but also highlight again, and he tries to in this, what a genius she was, how controlled she was over the show, and she knew what was funny, and she did know it was funny because this is one of the funniest shows ever. And then even beyond just I Love Lucy and to We Love Lucy and all her other shows that she had, I would have loved to have watched an actual biopic of her life instead of just this. And I thought that's what it was going to be. So that kind of disappointed me too. So
maybe that other movie that
I think it does do that. Yeah.
Better.
I think it does do more of her life. But
Yeah.
so anyway, it is what it is. I think they got nominations, so I'm probably not on the same scale with everyone, but whatever. I don't care.
Well, yeah, people seem to cut, mega stars like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, for sure.
Breaks.
Right.
When, everybody's kind of looking off to the side going, eh.
And she did do better with her accent. Her American accent normally drives me crazy because her Australian accent comes out all the time. And so I listen for it all the time because it just drives me insane. But she didn't hear, and I don't know if that was because Aaron was on top of her or if she was because of the voice she was trying to do. Maybe helped her to not bring out her real accent. So that was okay. But anyway, so
if you're a fan of Nicole Kidman, would you like this?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
But I think the real question is, or if you're a fan of Lucille Ball, would you like this? That's what really matters to me. And I think that's the problem, is that as a fan of Lucille Ball,
Right.
it wasn't enough for me.
Right.
It really did show her being as strong as she was, but it also showed Desi being as strong as he is, and he was, and he had a lot to do with their success. But I wanted more of her, than just a week.
Yeah. Well, and I think, if you're a big fan of Lucille Ball's, you can forgive a lot if at the moments where she's portraying Lucy Ricardo, the on-screen person, if she really nails that, that can go a long way if you're a Lucy fan.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's too bad. Oh well.
Yeah, so that's on Amazon Prime, Being the Ricardos.
It is what it is.
Do what you want.
Yeah, do with it what you will.
All right, the next movie we watched together.
What?
On Netflix.
Okay.
By Adam McKay, called Don't Look Up.
Okay.
We had quite an adventure with this movie.
Yeah, this one took a while because
you went into it thinking something different.
And to be honest, I'm not even sure what I thought it was. I don't know what I went into it thinking, but it was not that.
Yeah. So start with the premise. Adam McKay has written a movie about an asteroid that is going to collide with the Earth and cause the extinction of everyone. And it's the story of the scientists trying to get the politicians to do something about that, and blah, blah, blah. It's satirical. It's an overlay of climate change. I think there's a lot of things that people probably could put in place of that to say, scientists versus politicians in this country, and how silly some things is. We could even put the pandemic in there. So it's a complete satire, and you have to go into it knowing it's a satire.
Yeah.
And I think that was your problem was...
And if you don't, you're going to throw a fit halfway through.
So we were only about 20 minutes in.
That's very true.
And you were so upset we had to turn it off.
I was so annoyed. So here's the thing.
And I'm laughing. I'm laughing through the thing.
Well, apparently
and
you knew what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Because it's funny.
Okay. Here's the thing. The story is about the political climate nowadays and how and the dynamics of the two polar opposites as far away as you can get from each other. And
what? Science and politics.
Politics in general. Yeah. And this story happens to be focused on a scientific event, but the story is very much about the divide right now in politics, and it's satire on it. Yeah.
There was no divide. There was only one side of politics shown.
No, there was
not. The divide was between science and politics.
No, there was not.
That's what the movie was about.
That's your take on it. That's very fine.
What other side of politics did they show in the movie?
It was very much Democrats versus Republicans.
Where the
president?
We were
obvious.
Never told.
You weren't told this.
Okay.
It's what I saw.
And who was against the president? We never saw anyone else.
A majority of people.
We didn't see anyone else.
Not political. But when you listen to people and look at the whole movement that started to make awareness of this asteroid and look up, there it is, and the whole crowd at her rally saying, "Don't look up." It was
yes, but the point was science versus politics.
Okay,
that's the point of the movie.
Do you want my opinion or not?
Well, now I'm worried that you still didn't get the movie.
Oh, I got the movie.
The movie was science versus politics.
Sure, that was a component of it. Yes.
That was the entire thing, because his whole point is climate change versus politics. His whole point was this was all the asteroid was a stand-in for climate change.
Yes, sure.
So that was the point of the movie.
Okay, fine. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm very worried that you didn't get the whole thing.
I got what I got. That's the point of watching a movie. Not everybody gets the same exact thing.
The point of him not telling us what party the president was with was because it doesn't matter. All they care about is, and it doesn't matter who's in office. The point of, we've got midterms coming up. We're going to do this afterwards. Everyone in any party does that. That's the behavior of politics today. That's the point he's trying to make.
Okay, let's go here. Do you think that president could have possibly been a Democrat?
Yeah.
No, not in a million years.
Why?
Look at the stuff that she was saying and her son, all of that.
I think you and I looking at it, yes, we're like,
they stopped short of naming her Trump. It was so obvious that was patterned after the last
it's
previous
obvious
president.
it's obvious that that's where we're going. To me, that's my thing that's where we're going politically because of now our last administration and where we're headed. That's where politics is going to end up, where we're going to be nominating someone for Supreme Court who doesn't even have a law degree.
Yeah.
That's what's happening in this country
that's
where we're headed. But it could be anyone who does that.
Do you honestly think a Democrat would nominate somebody?
This is satire, and you're getting too involved in the minutia. This is a funny look and a kind of overhead look at everything that's going on. And so here's politics, and here's how crazy politics is. Okay. They can do all of this. They can do whatever they want. They can put things on hold. And then again, when all this other stuff comes out, they come back and go, oh, well, now let's take care of the comment, blah, 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 blah. That's the point, is that we had science on one side screaming their heads off like we have with climate change, saying, look at all of this information that we have. Mm-hmm. And politicians, no matter the party, have done nothing about it because of this or that or the money they're getting from other people and blah, 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 blah. That's the mirror of this movie.
Okay, so you're falling into the trap of a false equivalency. And it is so not equal. Democrats and Republicans right now are not equal.
That's not the argument
I
here.
Understand that.
You're getting off the point of the movie.
No, I'm not. That's the point of the movie, is the different political differences right now. And
no, the movie had nothing to do with political differences. The movie had to do with science versus politics, period.
Okay.
We never were shown another side of politics.
Okay.
We weren't.
That's fine. That's fine. For the sake of moving on, let's move on. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'd like it to be entertaining.
For what to be entertaining? The movie?
No, this podcast to be somewhat entertaining.
So did you like the movie or not?
I did like so I ended up liking the movie. I was not prepared for what it was initially, and I got
so we had
annoyed.
to turn it off 20 minutes in because he was very frustrated and he was not getting the comedy of it. He was taking it very literally. And so we shut it off. We put something else on for maybe 10 minutes. And then we stopped, I think, to get food or something. And you were like, I think I could go back and watch the movie now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you sure?
It took some convincing, but you finally did. And it was fine.
And so we put it back on. And then you did chuckle here and there. I thought it was very funny. And the whole thing of the general guy charging them for snacks, I thought that was a hysterical, funny, running gag. Mm-hmm. Which, again, you can buy that into so much of political spending.
Sure.
All kinds of different things that you wanted to. Government spending, all of that. So I thought it was funny.
Okay. I thought it was okay. It had humorous parts to it. I didn't think it was funny, but it was satire, and some of it hit, some of it didn't. For me, I'm only speaking about it from my perspective.
Yeah, that's all we're asking you to do. I don't know why. Does anyone think you're speaking for other people?
Well, you're trying to convince me what I should have gotten from it, and I don't think that's fair. I got what I got, and you may not agree with it, but don't try to convince me otherwise.
But if you're wrong...
Yeah, I know. That's why I say let's move on, because I'm clearly wrong. Yeah.
Well, it's not... yeah, it is. You're wrong, but...
Yes, I know. We all know. We all know it. We all know it.
And maybe I'm wrong. I actually haven't done any research on the movie because, it was good. It was funny. It was not any of my favorites for the year. It was not. I thought everyone was really good in it. Leo, he plays a screwed up dude like no other. Cate Blanchett with her teeth freaked me out. I thought Jonah Hill was hysterical, and I did see something yesterday that he said about his character what if Fire Festival was a person? And so that's what he played, was, thinking like that. So
wow, I think he nailed it.
Yeah. So, I think everyone was great. I have somewhat of an issue that Adam McKay has to like tart everyone up. Meryl, Kate Blanchett, like that he makes them they have to be like these bombshell looking women. But I don't know, again, the whole time I was watching, I was going, is he also satirizing that's who has to be on television these days, and that if a woman ran for president who looked like that, we'd vote her in, versus a woman who looks like Hillary, we didn't, that sort of thing. So, I had to get past that, but then when I go back to The Big Short, like all the women in that movie also look the same way. So I can't tell if that's a personal preference for him or if it's also part of his storytelling. I don't know.
So Jennifer Lawrence was not tarted up.
No, but she looked good.
Scientist on the left. And I'm just going to say, it was obvious to me that Tyler Perry and Kate Blanchett were as close to a Fox News as you could possibly do without calling it that.
No, it was a morning show, like Michael Strahan. It was like that. That's all I kept thinking was like Good Morning America or whatever, Michael Strahan's show that he has and all of that. So...
Oh, no, it was, and this is what I took from it. It was a Fox and Friends type show.
No, because they didn't talk politics at all on that show.
Okay.
That's not what Fox and Friends does. All they do is talk politics.
Yep.
Okay, we're moving on.
Thank you.
Just don't look up on Netflix.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
See, this is why we should talk about some things after we watch them instead of waiting until we get on here, because this could go really wrong.
Well, stuff just got
real. But you
insist
on waiting until we get on here. And I think that's wrong.
I like I like to get the reactions one time, first time.
Well, sometimes that's not good.
Note to self.
2 times. Anyway, okay, moving on. So this was our Friday night pick. I don't know why, but we do a lot of music trivia on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have ever done these things, but there's this one thing that like sets it up like a Jeopardy board, and they've got everything from the 50s to now music, and so we play these every night. And for some reason, I guess I was starting to think about that in my head, and I realized that you had never seen Almost Famous by Cameron Crowe. So that's what I chose for our Friday night viewing. Mm-hmm. If everyone remembers Almost Famous, it's Billy Crudup and Kate Hudson. Jason Lee's in there, Frances McDormand. So this was somewhat of a semi-autobiographical story when Cameron Crowe was a young kid. Lester Bangs, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Lester Bangs was a real person that he spoke to and got him interested in writing about rock and roll, and then he went on the road for Rolling Stones and stuff. So this is kind of his little autobiographical movie. What did you think? I
really enjoyed it. I really liked it. It was... There's a lot going on. I really enjoyed it, and I realized at the end, 50% of my enjoyment was simply watching Billy Crudup.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kate Hudson is great in it.
Yes.
I felt bad for her from the word go, but it's just one of those groupie kind of stories, except the groupie doesn't realize she's a groupie. But anyway, I would watch Billy Crudup do anything.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he's so engaging and so every character I've seen him in is just so inviting.
Yeah.
To just keep your eyes on him.
Yeah.
When
he smiles.
Yeah, there's just something about the guy that's just so engaging. It's really something. So I know there were others involved, and this was really from Cameron Crowe's perspective, played by, the character was William Miller, and he was just a kid, 15-year-old kid on the road with a rock group, which, if that really happened,
It did. Stillwater is basically like a compilation of all the bands that he actually hung out with and wrote about. So it wasn't like he was on with just one band, as far as I know. He put a compilation together, and then all the things that he did and he witnessed while he was with all these bands, he put together in one thing.
If he really did that at 15, I don't know how you turn out any semblance of normal.
His mother.
Even so, I mean, Yeah, that would just be amazing if that's really true, because that life will mess you up even if you're just around it, watching from the outside closely. I mean, forget living it, but just even close to it and watching it. That's, man, I can't even imagine. But it was good. I loved it. I loved the music. The music was really good, and all the performances were really good.
Yeah. I hadn't sat and watched it from beginning to end in quite a while, and wow, I was emotional through so much of it. Kate Hudson broke my heart. And I remember back when she won the Oscar for this, I remember wanting her to win. I knew she deserved it, all of that. But from the get-go in this, it was almost like every time she came on screen, I was just crying. She was just so lovely and ethereal and young. And I loved her portrayal. And it's such a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, it's available it was on Prime and it was on Paramount Plus. So you can get them streaming for free on both those systems.
Yeah.
So
I really enjoyed it.
Yay.
It's good.
I'm so glad. I knew you would,
mm-hmm.
but it's always about the mood and all that sort of thing. So
yeah.
So then we went to Saturday, which was supposed to be your choice.
It was my choice.
And I brought it up because I said, in the Cameron Crowe, if we wanted to keep a Cameron Crowe theme this weekend, he also hadn't seen We Bought a Zoo. So I put the suggestion out there and I said, but you come up with whatever you want, but you did choose We Bought a Zoo.
Yes.
So this stars Matt Damon, Thomas Hayden Church, Scarlett Johansson, Elle Fanning. And it is, again, another true story of a family who the mother and wife, she dies and the family buys a zoo and they have to fix it up, and it's basically about their lives.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this?
I really enjoyed this too.
Yeah.
It was so full of heart.
Yeah.
You're so pulling for Matt Damon the whole movie, and he's in a tough spot, with his kids and his life and that sort of thing, and he's trying to do things. He's trying to do something for the right reasons, and totally, buys into it. And it's a struggle. Yeah. The struggle is real.
Yeah.
And it was just good to watch. It was just, you kind of knew how it was going to turn out. There was no mystery at the end, but getting there was a pleasant journey to get there.
Yeah.
And the supporting actors were all really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that whole band of misfits that lives
Run the zoo.
That lives and runs a zoo. I mean,
yeah. And you throw animals, like you said, it's full of heart. You throw animals in it, and then it's just like, oy. So yeah, it's again, this is one that I will come in and usually watch anytime it's on, and because this is one of those roles that is made for Matt Damon. Like he's perfect at the normal guy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like where he's funny, but he also has struggles, and he's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Even in The Martian, where he's like super smart, there's still mistakes made and all. He's perfect at that kind of guy.
Yeah. You find that his reactions at the exact right times are exactly what your reaction would be.
Right. Yeah.
So he's very relatable.
Right.
He's probably one of the best at that, at nailing, at least for me anyway. I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody and generalize it, but at least for me, when I'm about, and I'm thinking something, you look at him and he's got the same look on his face, and he blows up and kicks a barrel over, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done right then.
And then he picks it back up.
And then he picks it back up because he's a nice guy. And I'm like, yeah, you should. That's what I would do. Yeah. So it's just perfect for that.
Yeah. It's a wonderful role for him. And again, it's like how much of it is Cameron Crowe's writing versus, this, because he does write these kind of everyday guy things like Jerry Maguire and whatever, but yeah, it's just so much fun that again, I was crazy emotional again with this one. Maybe it's just the weekend or something, but I was a mess with this one too, and just it was lovely to revisit from beginning to end again as well. So I'm glad you got to see that.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Which one would you say you liked more?
Well, they're such different movies. That's a tough one. I like them both. I think I would actually say I liked. Ooh, I don't know. That's a tough one because they are such different movies. If they were similar, kind of in the same vein, premise wise or plot wise or whatever, I would have an easier time probably picking one over the other. But I enjoyed them. I enjoyed each one so much for what they were that it's really hard to pick one over the other.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah. I don't think I can.
Good.
I don't think I want to. I think I'm just going to leave it at that. They're
Good.
both really good.
Well, so everyone can be ready for this. We are doing this every Friday and Saturday now, so we probably are going to have some older movies. We're probably going to get back into Harry Potter because he's never finished the series.
I haven't finished the series, and I have such a bad memory. We're probably going to
start it over again.
Yeah.
Because I've said, remember you've seen this? And he's like, no, I don't remember it. So
who's this Harry Potter guy?
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on to
Parents
TV.
are dead.
Oh, it made me really sad.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a little too. It's too soon for Harry Potter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So moving on to TV.
Thank you, Josh Gad. By the way.
Yes. First thing I'm going to talk about is Hawkeye, the first season. This is on Disney Plus. Obviously, Jeremy Renner is Hawkeye, and he teams up with Haley Stanfield, who plays Lucy. I could be wrong. See, I never pay attention to character names. It's a thing. I just don't pay attention to character names. Anyway, this was 6 episodes. This was a really good little season to push stories forward. We found out a lot of stuff. Kingpin came back in from Daredevil, which was Vincent D'Onofrio. It was interesting. There was a lot of things revealed, a lot of fun action, a lot of fun, just Marvel fun. And of course they gave us Steve Rogers the musical, which, if you know, and if not, go watch the show and you'll be able to see that tidbit. I loved it. I'm not a huge Jeremy Renner fan. I am definitely a Hawkeye fan. I have been since basically Ultron, when he gives that great speech to Elizabeth Olsen. So I love Hawkeye. I love his family. Love his wife a lot more now. We learned a lot more about her in this. So it was really, really good. If you haven't, you do need to go back and watch this as a Marvel fan. And I'm excited for you to watch it, but you're so far behind on everything that I don't know when we'll get to it.
Nuts.
Moving on, New Year's Eve, we watched on Apple TV Plus. They had a new Snoopy's Auld Lang Syne. They had a whole new New Year's Eve special. So we decided to watch that. And what did you think? It was 40 minutes long, I think.
38 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know that because I was counting every one of them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be honest and say I don't think I liked it.
Well, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I'm going to say I probably won't watch it ever again. But it just, it's too hard to... would kids like it now? Yeah, they'd probably love it. And they probably get it because of the whole grandmother thing and all that. It's mostly Lucy. That's the main character in the story. And who likes Lucy? Number one.
Well, in the beginning, she was until Grandma broke her world.
Spirit.
She was different, and I actually commented on that.
Yeah.
How Lucy was not being Lucy, and then halfway through,
she became herself
again. She became super Lucy, and way overboard and too much.
I think we're just too old for new. Give me the classic Charlie Brown Christmas. That's all I need. It was too, they brought in all of Snoopy's family. It was not, for me, it was just too new. I'm not gonna.
I didn't mind that, but they were all being jerks to the one of them. And it's all he wanted was a picture, and you guys won't even sit still for a picture. It's and then you're throwing snowballs and you break his camera. It's what's wrong with you dogs? What's wrong with you, dog?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's on Apple TV Plus if you're interested.
Do it if you must.
Kids would probably like it. I just think it's hard for us to accept anything.
I'm not even sure kids would like it. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I feel like a curmudgeon now, but I didn't really like it, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the 4th season of Cobra Kai, which came out this weekend. So for me, the first 4-ish episodes, a little slow, especially after what I was hoping was going to be amazing because of the way it ended last time. I loved watching Dhani and Johnny try to work together. And of course it didn't work. But then, then it took off, and it was quite a finisher to the season. We got to the All Valley tournament, and it's been split between 3 dojos now. There's Miyagi-Do, there's Cobra Kai, and then Johnny has his own Eagle Fang dojo. So to watch the 3 compete, and they changed the rules of the whole tournament, which was also really interesting because we got a girl fight that actually was the last fight of the tournament. And I was like, oh, thank God we're finishing off with girls this time, because it's always about the dudes. So that was really cool to watch them fight, and it was very interesting. We got Sensei Silver back from Karate Kid 3. And he is just as much he's more off his rocker than Kreese is. So that was very interesting. A great ending to see what's going to happen now. We've only got 1 more season and it's done. We just have the 5th season coming. And the show is over. So it's going to be interesting to see how they finish off with Silver and Kreese. And then also, obviously, I think we all just want Dhani and Johnny to get along. But all of these kids have interesting stories as well. It's gonna be good. This has been such a fun show, and it's so nostalgic. And you couldn't have made this show just on its own. The only reason it's working is because of the nostalgia. But it works, and it works big time, and it's so much fun. And I have to watch the whole thing all at once. It's just that kind of show. Yeah. So, anyway, if you haven't watched Cobra Kai, go watch it. It's that simple. Even if you weren't the biggest Karate Kid fan, you don't need to be. They cut in scenes from the movies so that you understand what's going on. So you don't even need to have watched the movies. But for those of us that were huge movie fans, it's so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And the last things I want to talk about are Harry Potter. One was the Tournament of Houses that ran, it was over 3 weekends or 4 weekends. A little upset because Ravenclaw didn't make it to the finals, but very happy that Hufflepuff won and Slytherin did not. It was a lot of fun. I maybe knew 60%, probably more closer to 50% of the answers. So it makes me want to again rewatch everything. I've even had the thought of reading the books, which if anyone pays attention, I do not read. And so I think about it and I go, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. But the Tournament of Houses was very fun. If you missed it, I'm sure it's online somewhere. And then yesterday on HBO Max, where all of the Harry Potter movies are streaming, they released the Harry Potter reunion special. And this was an hour and 40 minutes of all of the actors getting together, all of the different directors talking about how they chose to direct the movies. Very lovely talking to Chris Columbus, who did the first 2. He had to kick off the whole series and how stressful that was for him, how they had to cast it. A lot of it was all on him, and he got the whole thing started, so that was great. Great seeing everyone interact and talk about stories that they had and how the adults really took care of the kids, or the adults that then came in on later movies, how they treated them like adults. Loved seeing the 3 together. Ron, Hermione, and Harry. That was lovely. They had a wonderful in memoriam to everyone who's died, and ending with Alan Rickman and his always line was killer. I was a mess. I was a mess through the whole end of it. They just got so emotional, and everyone was getting emotional speaking, and I was just crying my eyes out. So it was really, really cool. Good reunion. It's been 20 years since the first one came out, so that's why this reunion exists. And so it messes with you a little bit because it's like it's not 20 years since the last one came out.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think that's only been 10 years, but still, you know, it was good. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, you've probably already watched it, but just in case you missed it, go back to HBO Max and watch that.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're a big fan of the series, it's something that you really want to watch.
Oh yeah.
I only caught a little bit of it, and I'm obviously not a super fan. But it was the little bit where Gary Oldman and Daniel Radcliffe were hanging out and talking and stuff, and it was very touching to see the two of them hanging out and looking back at clips and how they, you know,
it's one of my favorite relationships.
Behind the scenes, kind of at that time,
right?
You know,
because it sounds like they were very much like Sirius and Harry, and which warms my heart because that's one of my favorite relationships, was because you wanted Harry to have family so bad, and when he discovered Sirius, it was, you know, anyway, I'm not gonna get all into the whole thing, but that's kind of how it was with everyone. Whenever when Draco was with Helena Bonham Carter, and they were talking about their, you know, relationship between him and Beatrix and all the stuff, it was just Ralph Fiennes talking about him and all the makeup he had to do, and it was really cool. And you know, not everyone's on it, but a good amount of people. Yeah. Yep. So that's on HBO Max.
Okay.
So that's it. We're going to now turn to the movies of 2021. So I saw 63 movies in 2021, which isn't bad considering I only went to the theater less than a handful of times. Right. So I took all these movies that I saw and I broke them down into all of our categories. I tried to keep it minimal, but there were a lot that I really, really liked. Okay. And this was a huge year for musicals. So that kind of got me too, was figuring that out. So under movies I love, number one, I think my favorite movie of the year, Coda.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I can't say enough about it. We just talked about it on the last podcast because you finally saw it. I can't. It's such a good movie. I think it's my favorite of the year. And, I wish it all the awards it can get. I know it won't, but I really do.
It would be nice if it got something. You know, because I think it's, you know, I mean, the critics liked it, but I don't think it's going to win a lot of awards. But if there was any kind of People's Choice, I think they would do really well because everybody you talk to, everybody you hear from, really, really liked it.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't. So, second on here under still movies I loved was Tick, Tick, Boom, which again you still haven't seen.
I have not.
It'll be on one of our Friday night viewings.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield has turned into one of my favorite human beings in the world
in a very short period of time.
Yes,
he's gone from meh.
He's gone. No, he was never meh. He was kind of like, I didn't even think of him. I just never thought of him.
Okay.
Yeah, and now it's like he's a wonderful human being and deserves every good thing that comes to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tick, Tick, Boom, great, wonderful. Lin-Manuel did a beautiful job of directing, and he's not nominated for any directing anywhere, which bums me out. But
really,
yeah.
Huh.
Encanto is also under my love list.
Okay.
I am becoming obsessed with this. I think it's something I'm gonna be watching on a daily for a little while. I
get it, you know, and one thing we didn't really talk about was the visuals.
Yes.
It's a stunning movie. It's so colorful and so fluid.
Yes.
And
so we have a setup here with our TV where I also have these lights that sync with whatever's on the television, so the colors are extended onto the walls. And so when we watch that, it's one of those things that we can get even more engrossed in because the lights are like all over the wall and or the colors are, and it's just gorgeous. So
yeah. Who makes that, by the way? Shameless plug. It's a Sony.
Philips. It's all Philips lighting, Hue lighting, light play, something like that. It's an expensive setup, but you can do it. It's easy.
Fun. It's nice.
Oh yeah, I love it. And then my fourth under movie I love, again, musical, Come From Away.
Oh yeah, okay.
It doesn't really count as a movie because they just filmed the stage show. But to me it counts, and I loved this show so much. It's a very personal thing.
It's very powerful.
It's very powerful. It's hard to get through, but it is so good. And all of those people deserve so much because they work their tails off in that show. So had to put it there.
Were those all theater people, or were those people that became theater people?
They're all theater people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they seem like such an eclectic group that you would think they might have been, B actors or spot actors or character actors off to the side that suddenly got a chance. So I don't know any of them.
I don't either, but I mean, I don't know what. Yeah. Okay.
They seem like very average people.
And theater people aren't. I'm not
They
sure.
are, but usually,
Yeah, I must have misunderstood your question.
No, we'll talk about it offline.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to movies I liked. The first one is Our Friend. This was with Jason Segel and Casey Affleck and what's her face, Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
This was where Dakota Johnson is dying. Casey's married to her, and their best friend Jason Segel moves in and helps them to take care of everything. This was a true story. I really loved the way this movie was from start to finish. It was not in your face, like has to be sad. It was a lovely story of friendship, a lovely story of just relationships in general. And I just really, when I looked back at my whole list, I was like, that's one I need to put on there. So I did. Another one I liked, but I actually really, really enjoyed, Free Guy.
Yeah.
It was original.
Yeah.
It was funny. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds, but it was an original story, and it was so well told. It reminds me of the Lego movie. When the Lego movie came out, it was just that new kind of thing. Yeah. Loved it. Can't wait to watch it.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the Heights makes my like list. It is my second favorite Broadway show of all time, but the movie falls a little flat because they changed a lot from the show. I still love it. I still put it on. It's on all the time. I put it on all the time. But there are moments in the movie where I'm still like, I can't believe they changed this. It upsets me. So. And my fourth underlike is Mitchell's versus the Machines. This is that animated movie.
Yeah,
I still really want you to watch it. I know you'll love it. It was so much fun, but again, has a really great message about kids dealing with their parents and parents dealing with their kids and kids who feel different. It was a lot of fun. So I hope people check that out. That's on Netflix.
It's an option for next Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So movies I hate. Not going to say hate. Saying
Hate's a strong
I
word.
thought they weren't good.
Yes.
One, Ice Road, that Liam Neeson one. No good. Stillwater, Matt Damon. That was a disappointment to me. I wanted so much more out of that movie.
Yeah.
Those Who Wish Me Dead, the Angelina Jolie one. That was not. I don't know what the point of that was. And Without Remorse, which was Michael B. Jordan. I felt like there was like no dialogue in the movie. It was just all action. And while I can watch Michael B. Jordan just do action, I wanted a better story to it. So I put that on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to Secretly Love.
Yep.
Single All the Way.
Yeah.
I couldn't, when I'm going through this list, it's a movie makes me smile.
Sure.
I'm gonna watch it.
I get
all
it.
year long. So
I get it. If I was doing one of these, I'd probably have that there too.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Also Secretly Love, the documentary the Val Kilmer documentary was so good.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind.
Yeah.
So
and it's a shame to see him like he is now, but But it was, and I only saw parts of it, but it was really good catching up with him.
Yes.
And he's not one, he does not seem like he is kind of why me, but not in your face way. But not
really.
He's not really, oh, woe is me. He's just trying to live his life as whatever comes, okay, here's, we just move forward.
Right. But it's a great documentary for someone that you probably wrote off as a one-hit wonder dude, whether you thought he was just the Batman or if you thought he was just Doc Holliday.
Right.
There's so much more to him, and the documentary showed so much that it's great. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I also put on Under Secretly Love, The Starling, the one where Melissa McCarthy loses the baby and she's married to Chris
O'Dowd.
Yeah. I loved the way the movie presented itself, and again in a year where we're still grieving and in mourning, it worked. It worked well. It wasn't a sad, depressing. It was a hopeful, lovely story. So I put that on here.
Okay.
And then in a year where we had 4 Marvel movies. We had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home. I put No Way Home on here. I do think it was probably the best. I have not seen Eternals, so that's on my haven't seen is Eternals. But I think I liked No Way Home over the other two, and I loved Black Widow and I loved Shang-Chi. So that's a hard thing, but I had to put a Marvel movie on here because that's just going to be obviously going to love them.
That's just who you are.
They're just great. So that was it for Secretly Love, and then haven't seen just the Eternals. Obviously, that's on my watch list. So let me see if I had anything else that I wanted to. It was hard because Quiet Place 2, amazing sequel. Cruella, I love.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Red Notice was super fun.
Yeah, it was.
Godzilla versus Kong, Yeah. Thunder Force, remember the one with Melissa McCarthy? And it wasn't enough that I hated it, but I think if I went back now and watched it, I'd probably laugh a lot. Just kind of skimming to see if there was anything else I wanted to.
Hey, Eternals has Gemma Chan in there, right?
Yep.
Oh, maybe that's an option.
And Selma Hayek.
And Selma Hayek.
It doesn't come out. It'll be on Disney Plus the middle of January, so we've got a couple weeks. Yeah.
Well, that explains that.
Yeah, so there were the Cinderella, the new musical Cinderella, that was enjoyable. So there were things, Jungle Cruise, there were good ones, but that's my kind of condensed list on what I really, really liked and enjoyed. So, I didn't see anything too heavy. That was another thing that it was skimming. So there were a lot of movies that I didn't finish, like Power of the Dog or Dune. There were a lot of movies that I put on here that I just didn't. And what you can tell, and especially by my favorites list and all of that, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood for something too heavy, too depressing, too dark. I'm just not in that mood. And again, I think everyone's viewing habits change and go with your life or whatever. And in the second year of a pandemic, I'm not. I want Single All the Way, and I want Free Guy, and I want, the real, and of course musicals and things that are making me feel good. And and I'm not going to apologize for it. If I don't feel like watching the long drawn out thing, I'm not going to do it.
I don't think you should. That's how I live my life. Entertain me, because I don't. If I want to be sad or emotionally challenged, I'll turn on the news.
I usually force myself to watch all the Oscar nominated movies and stuff. And this year, with Belfast and there's another one, and I keep looking at them, and I'm I know I quote unquote should. I don't have it in me. So, we'll see if my mood changes one day or something. Then maybe it will. But for now, I want to stick to the light and fun and colorful.
I applaud you for your choices.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, I subscribe to that.
Okay, so that is it. We are into 2022. There's a lot of stuff coming out, but again, we're not going to the movies anytime soon. So our viewing, may be delayed on some of the big stuff, but it is what it is. I'll keep watching TV. There's a lot of good shows. So
yeah,
second
golden age of television right now.
Yes, I concur. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around with us for another year.
Yeah.
And we'll be back in a few weeks.
Sounds good.
All right. Until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.